When a client says to you, no, this sucked, rarely do they actually take the time to sit down with you and tell you why it sucked and how you can get better. They just tell you it sucks.
In order to be a good marketer, right, you need to be adaptable and so forth. So let me ask you a question, like a really kind of targeted question on coaching, since you do so much of it. Somebody who's new in the industry, and I hear a lot of different opinions on this. I hear people who say focus on one niche. I hear some people say focus on one type of copy, like if focus on email, short form, that's like a trend. Some say, become a list manager. Some say, no, you have to be a digital marketer. Now, there's so many different ways somebody can be pulled into this industry. Now, a lot of the gurus and the coaches really try to get people to like niche down to find one copy, like one email copy or long form or social content, whatever. What's your opinion? Like somebody who's new, starting out, really wants to get ahead in the game, what would you tell them to do?
Okay, so before I answer that question, can I give you a teeny bit of background on myself?
Yes, go ahead.
So I come from the era where you basically were kind of a gunslinger. All my heroes, Gary Hallett, Jay Abraham, Dan Kennedy, all those guys, Joe Sugarman, every single one was a gunslinger. Bring me what you got. I'm going to show you how good I am. So I grew up with that mentality. So I've written in 420 different marketplaces. So that should just give you an idea. So like my philosophy is very similar. It's ethics come first. Don't write for scammy shit. That's my only thing, because that will like weigh your soul down.
Yeah.
Yes, you'll make a couple of bucks, but trust me, it's not worth the long-term psychological aspects that you get from actually knowing like, oh shit, that sold a lot of money, but it was a terrible idea, because karma will bite you in the ass. It just will. So I always tell people, like, there's only one thing I really want you to focus on. Write a good fucking sales letter. Because the reality is, if you can write a sales letter, everything else falls into place. I don't know how to write email. Guess what? You know how to write email now. I don't know how to write VSL. Guess what? You know how to write VSL now. I don't know how to do a webinar. Guess what? You know how to do a webinar. Why? Because everything falls from the idea of this Rosetta Stone called the sales letter. Once you understand the language of copy, you understand what, and by the way, when we say long form, we don't mean the whole thing has to be explained out with 15,000 different things. It means you cover every argument possible in your letter, but you keep it concise. Like if I can say a thing in 3 words instead of 5 paragraphs, I'm going to say it in 3 words because it's easy to actually explain. You want to talk to a 10-year-old here, you got to keep their attention, because the average person, you're talking to people who are 10 years old, really, in terms of like that sweet spot of what there is. So I'd say, if I was to coach anyone, and it's like, okay, what are you going to do here? First of all, get good at writing sales letters, but pick whatever market makes you happy. Find the one, and the criteria for it is, does it have money? Does it have competition? Is it selling well? If the answer is yes to those 3, guess what? You now have a marketplace you can walk into and be like, hi, I see that you're a restaurant. Hi, I see that you're an info product creator. Hi, I see that you're a coach or an expert. I want to write a sales letter for your program because I actually really enjoy it and believe what you're doing. Just test it. Let me know how it runs. And hey, if it works out, then pay me some money. If you're one of those people that's like, actually, you know what? I need to get some money up front because that really motivates me. Barter a deal, say I'll take half up front now and half on delivery. If that doesn't work, then say you take 25% up front and whatever it is. And if you really want to make a sales argument like, oh, you're unproven, blah, 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 here's your sales argument. I'll give it to you right now. The reality is many of these copywriters actually don't want to work 3 or 4 clients at once. They want to work one client to actually give it their best. Tell your client this. Hey, listen, I don't want to work on 4 separate client cases at the same time. I want to work on one. If I have to spread my energy over 4 separate places, I'm not giving anyone my best. And that means that I'm going to fail you. I'm going to fail 3 other people. What I'd rather do is I take half the money up front, focus entirely on you, give you something I know you can run with. And hey, if it's an absolute winner, great, we move forward. If it's not, after you pay me 100% and it doesn't work out, guess what? I'll do 2 more revisions for you. I'll go in deeper on the research and we'll see what we come out. At the end of it, you'll have me working 3 times over, or you'll have like you'll have a winner, or you'll have me work 3 times over. Simple. It's the old Gary Hallett quote.
I love that, because I deal with some writers on my end, and there's nothing that peeves me more than when somebody delivers something and doesn't follow up to see how they did. You know what I mean? It's like, here you go, they get paid and then they just disappear. And I'm like, this sucked. I'm never going to give you another job. And you don't even know.
When a client says to you, no, this sucks, rarely do they actually take the time to sit down with you and tell you why it sucked and how you can get better. They just tell you it sucks. And of course, as your copywriting ego is so deflated, you don't actually want to follow up. So you're completely like miserable. So if you're a copywriter like, oh my God, my client hates my work, whatever it is, respond back with this. Okay, that makes me sad to hear. how can we move this forward? How can I make it better? And what can I do to make sure that I can actually show you my best? That's a great conversation. If you're the type of person that responds back, guess what? The reason and this is a real reason, sometimes copywriters don't follow up simply because they think their clients will tell them. So no news is good news, is the way they usually think. If that's the case and you're a client, sometimes just respond back to the copywriter. The copywriter, if you're not responding, just follow up. Say, hey, just want to know what happened with the ad I wrote. Why? Because now you actually know whether or not you won or failed. If you failed, be like, oh shit, what can I do better? If it was a win, great, what worked? And from the side of the person that hired them, if someone sucked, don't just be like, oh, they sucked, I'm never going to work with them again. Rather be like, hey man, just so you know, the last thing that we wrote didn't convert as well. Can we get on a call to at least find out how we can make this right?
Yeah.
Because believe it or not, just by saying those exact words, can we get on a call, figure out how to make this thing right? 9 out of 10 times you're actually going to get like a really good working relationship and someone's going to stay with you. And again, that's just, that's literally from literally years of fucking up and winning at the same time. Like I've had campaigns that have fucked and I've had campaigns that have won.
Hope you found today's session valuable. If you have any questions for me or just want to connect, please feel free to visit my website, mariasparagis.com. That's MariaSparagis.com. I'd love to hear what you're working on, so drop me a line on any hot button issues your business is experiencing. And remember, don't worry about failure. You only have to be right once.